Alrighty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's officially Thursday. How we sounding? Everything's good. Audio looks good. Shit looks choppy on my end for some reason, but I'm looking at the stream right here. It looks good. Yeah, we're just gonna run with it. So welcome to the Volatile Show. I'm your host, Volatize. We'll be doing 15 minutes for world news, followed by our content for the day, which will be biochemistry. So enjoy, and we're gonna get right into it. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe, like if you enjoy the show, and check out my website. We got merch on there. We got different kinds of stuff on there you can buy. And check out the Discord. I update the chat in the Discord. You can see updates there. Check out my eggs and stuff. But without further ado, let's get right into the content of the day. So last we left off, it was April 7th. This was 2 days ago. And it looked like peace was right on the edge. We were right on the grasp of it. Right now, we don't know. I mean, I kind of know. Like, I keep up with the news, but we're gonna go over Rero Novarum. And yeah, we're just gonna look starting off around 9 p.m. on April. That's around where we ended. Yeah, no direct impacts in Tel Aviv, and that's where we left off. So yeah, Mark Levin was crashing out over the ceasefire. Obviously, Israel didn't want the ceasefire. This was an America-Iran ordeal, so let's keep that in mind as we see what's moving forward. You know, not necessarily going to be attacks from America, even though it would seem that way. But let's get right into it. So last we left off, the ceasefire had been brokered. Pakistan had made a 10-point deal. Basically, we're paying reparations to Iran. Basically, we're still kicked out the Hormuz. Basically, we're chopped. Basically, we're unk. Basically, Iran just kind of bitched us a little bit. I'm not taking a stance. That's just very obviously what has happened. If you look at this 10-point deal and compare it to the reason we went into the war in the first place, which was, I mean, we got rid of a lot of artillery, but they're still going to be able to produce nuclear weapons, basically, or at least enrich the uranium necessary for it. And they're doing all kinds of shit underground. You know, when you have a landscape that is like very arid, very full of sand, not very much around in terms of like water and vegetation. The sun is beating down on you all the time. You got to do shit underground. That's why you have these remains in Turkey. That's why you have Göbekli Tepe. That's why you have all these massive infrastructures over there that are related to like underground areas and stuff like that. Places that tourists don't get to see. But regardless of the fact, let's start going through the news, or this is going to take forever. So right over here, we're saying over the last month and a half, Rero Novarum has experienced growth. It's all thanks to us, me in particular. Lebanon is not included in the 2-week ceasefire, so that's very important. This directly contradicts Iranian and Pakistani terms for the ceasefire. So the Prime Minister's office is saying no Lebanon, and Iran and Pakistan is like, hey, we agreed to Lebanon. Fuck is going on here? Israel's targeted a vehicle in Tyre, southern Lebanon. Israeli airstrike in the Al-Khalai area in southern Lebanon. Let's see a tweet from the Big T. We got a big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Likewise, so has everyone else. They'll always be helping with the traffic buildup. There will be lots of positive action. Big money will be made. Iran can start reconstructing. We'll be loading up supplies and hanging around just to make sure everything goes well. Just like we're experiencing the golden age of the US, they could be experiencing the golden age of the Middle East. So very interesting. After they've been bombed to oblivion, the golden age is coming, ladies and gentlemen. So don't worry about Iran. They're about to enter their golden age, just like our American golden age. High gas prices. The price of eggs and fruit going up. It's not that bad though. It's not that bad. We lived through worse. Can we just be honest for a second? We lived through worse where we're at right now. But we need to get ready for May 1st. Yeah, should we look over that? I feel like that's important. I feel like we should look over that just real quick. Hold on, let me just move right over to my my Chrome and let me just show this to y'all. Let me just make sure I'm typing this in right so that everything looks good. My internet's shit right now. I don't even know how I'm streaming. Absolute dog shit. Okay, so EPA fortifies domestic fuel supply beginning on let me show you. This is the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. This is not, as you know, I'm not out here making shit up. I don't have nothing to gain from lying to y'all. I have nothing to gain. I'm not in Big E, even though I did put some calls. I'm not gonna lie. Not some calls. I put in a call. Put in a call just because I'm like, this shit's happening. People don't know about it, but it is what it is. All right, let's look at this. This is a fucking clip right here. EPA fortifies domestic fuel supply, provides Americans with relief at the pump by approving nationwide E15 and removing boutique fuel markets for E10. So today, the EPA, Lee Zeppelin, that's a badass fucking name, it's borderline Led Zeppelin, in a consultation with the U.S. Department of Energy, in accordance with the CAA, issued a temporary emergency fuel waiver to allow nationwide sales of E15 as gasoline with 15% ethanol, and to remove all federal impediments to selling E10 gasoline blended with 10% ethanol across countries. So through the waiver, they are fortifying the domestic gasoline supply chain and providing Americans relief at the pumps ahead of the summer driving season. The waivers will work to prevent disruption in America's fuel supply by keeping E15 on the market and giving Americans more fuel options. Basically, if you want to put bullshit in your car, you can put bullshit in your car. EPA is issuing the waiver notice today to allow fuel industry stakeholders adequate time to transition the fuel distribution system as required by the CAA, EPA, and DOE. Evaluated the situation, determining that granting the waiver was in the public interest. So they're trying to reduce unnecessary costs. They're trying to make sure the gas remains affordable, and they're basically trying to increase the fuel supply by cutting it. If you don't understand what's going on, it's like they're trying to put more cut in it. They're trying to put ethanol in it. What ethanol does, unfortunately, is ethanol sucks the moisture out of things. So what that does is it's gonna fuck up your catalytic converter. It's gonna fuck up your engine. It's gonna make things overheat. You can ask ChatGPT about it. I'm not here just making up scientific facts. This is what's gonna happen. So just picture it, right? Let's say it will initially remain in place until May 20th, and that is the maximum number of days allowed. So we'll see about that. Obviously, there's always extensions. It's like when COVID happened. It's like, this will initially remain in place till 30 days from now, and then it gets extended, and then it gets extended, and then shit gets crazy because you start seeing shortages. You start seeing certain prices go up insanely in certain parts of the country, and then all of a sudden everybody's driving with E15. People's cars are fucking up. We probably will get an EV mandate. I don't know what that looks for, because I've also been looking into getting like an EV car, especially for a situation like this. They're gonna try to get people to get rid of their old cars. They don't want people to be able to fix their own vehicles and diagnose them and make things last a while. Plus, there's no tracking. There's no GPS. There's no way to like control it from afar. Not to get like dystopian on you, but it's like Yeah, they want. That's the goal. Why do you think? Why do you think Elon supported Trump for so long? It's because he wanted to see Iran go to war with the U.S. He knew the Strait of Hormuz was going to close. That would cause oil and petroleum to go skyrocketing. And then what's everyone going to do? We're not at full production yet because our oil's too thick. It's like Venezuela's. It's not the sweet, delicious oil that comes out of the Middle East that is thin and easily made or easily like converted into what we can use. We have this super convoluted oil that needs like big infrastructure. So until we reach 100% production, which will take a year, maybe less, maybe more, depending on how things go, we're gonna be stuck with E15. It's gonna get extended. Now that's a prediction. Right now, as far as we know, it's a 20-day window. But you really think it's a 20-day window? Please leave a comment in the chat if you think it's really gonna be a 20-day window. Anyways, let's get back into the news. Enough of that. People need to know that though. Had to get that clip out of the way. All right, moving forward. Explosions in Bahrain. This is at 1 a.m. April 8th. We're in April 8th now. Plane kerosene costs could take months to return to normal prices, says the Airport Transport Association. North Korea fired a ballistic missile toward the Sea of Japan. The second in less than 7 hours. What the fuck does that mean? The second one. I don't know why I thought it was like it took a second. Urgent and repeated warning to the residents of the city Tyre, especially in Shibra al I can't even say Abbasiyah. Hezbollah terrorist activities force the defense army to act against it forcefully. The defense army does not intend to harm you. So they basically put out this message to evacuate the homes from the IDF. Okay, so President Trump announces the suspension, and then here we have a reply by Yair Lapid, the Israeli opposition leader. There's never been such a political disaster in our entire history. Israel wasn't even at the table when the decisions concerning the core of our national security were made. The military did everything asked of it. The public showed incredible resilience, but Netanyahu failed politically, failed strategically, and did not meet a single one of the goals he himself set. It will take us years to repair the diplomatic and strategic damage he has caused due to arrogance, negligence, and the lack of strategic planning. So, one of the leaders of Israel is mad about how things went down and very mad about this decision being made without them at the table. This was, again, like I said, an Iran and a U.S. deal. Israel's basically just they didn't see it, no call, no show. That's why they had their biggest bombing day in history directly after that, but that's coming up, so don't worry. Brent oil prices crashed 16.31% today to $92.96 per barrel, dropping down due to the ceasefire announcement. So we'll see. There's a wave of airstrikes across Lebanon. So here's where it starts, April 8th in the morning. Got to get a big sip of water for that one. All right, so Iran says excluding Lebanon from the ceasefire will lead to renewed fighting. Obviously, Lebanon was the main deal here anyways. It's not like we were going to actually take over land in Iran. That's ridiculous. It's like, no, they were just looking to take land in Lebanon. That's all it is, expansion. Same thing with Palestine. Let's be real here. All right, French President Macron welcomes the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, but emphasized the need for Lebanon to be included. EU markets have followed the Asian markets. Trends with strong growth this morning following the ceasefire. Iraq set to open their airspace. IDF spokesman says the Israeli armed forces will respect the ceasefire with Iran and will remain on high alert. The IDF issued a warning to Lebanese citizens, warning them not to return to their homes, stressing that the ceasefire with Iran does not include Lebanon. So we're getting two sides of the story here. Again, one side saying, hey, we got Lebanon included in here. The other side saying no Lebanon. So it doesn't seem like much parliament, much agreement was declared, because Shit's about to go down. The UAE has seemingly declared victory. This coffee is horrendous. I got like a cold brew coffee. I don't even know what the fuck a cold, because you have to brew it. It's like a Keurig coffee, but it was called cold brew. Disgusting. All right. Israel calls for the evacuation of Beirut. Iran must pay compensation to Qatar for all of the damages to the Gulf country. Lebanon is included in the ceasefire agreement between United States and Iran. An official involved in the negotiations tells AP. The agreement between America and Iran must be reflected in Israel's cessation of its attacks, says Egyptian foreign military. Pope Leo hails the U.S.-Iran ceasefire as a sign of great hope. Alerts in the UAE of an ongoing missile threat. Now we have 5:52 a.m. April 8th. The Kuwaiti air defenses have been dealing since 8 a.m. today and up to now with an intense wave of hostile Iranian criminal attacks, where 28 drones were intercepted that targeted the state of Kuwait. So yeah, things like that were still going on after the ceasefire. You have to understand, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for stuff to trickle down. Now, once stuff trickles down, you would expect that stuff to stop, right? But we'll see. The marine traffic has resumed in the Strait of Hormuz, with 2 tankers making it across Greek-owned NJ Earth and then Liberia-flagged Daytona Beach. 4 fueling aircrafts have left and entered Iraqi airspace. Violent attacks in the Persian Gulf, the oil refinery, and several landing docks on the Syri island have been bombed. Iranian authorities on the island have suspended public transport. Iran media is accusing the UAE of doing it. The scenes from the Lavin oil refinery on Syri island, that's a big fire. Air defenses are active over the UAE. Yeah, I can't sit here and make a big deal out of this just because, like, I kind of have to understand, like, this is nothing has changed. If you watch the news, it's like it's the exact same shit. Ceasefire didn't do anything. There's all within an hour of each other. Double tap on out. That's crazy how you're saying it like that. You got airstrikes in southern Lebanon, basically. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas calls on Iran, the mediators, and the U.S. to also include Palestine and the West Bank in the ceasefire deal. So yeah, that's a, just put it out there, dog. Reports of an alleged Hezbollah deadline for Israel to cease attacks is false. They have not reported a deadline. Israeli strikes against the suburbs of Beirut. Okay, now we have reached 7:30 a.m. We got a big news right here. Hold on, let me drink some more water. It's been a long day, chat. It's been a long day. All right, the largest strike across Lebanon since the start of the operation. Roar of the Lion. Within 10 minutes and across multiple areas simultaneously, the IDF has carried out a massive strike against approximately 100 command centers and military infrastructure sites belonging to the Hezbollah terrorist organization. Most of the infrastructure was located in the heart of civilian populations, reflecting the terrorist organization Hezbollah's cynical exploitation of Lebanese civilians as human shields to safeguard its operations. Prior to the strikes, measures were taken to minimize harm to bystanders. Hezbollah has decided to join the campaign and operate under the Iranian terrorist regime. The state of Lebanon and its citizens must oppose Hezbollah. The IDF will continue to act forcefully, says the IDF. So, what's going on here? What ceasefire? Who? Israel wasn't involved. Just straight up, they just weren't involved in the ceasefire. The United States is working closely with Iran. There will be no enrichment of uranium. Need to dig up all the nuclear bombers. I'm trying to cut through a little bit of the cheese right here. Tariff and sanctions are being talked about. So Trump is basically saying, "Hey, man, those bombings in Israel, just ignore them. Also, no enrichment of uranium. So the shit Iran and Pakistan said, bullshit. Um, a country supplying military weapons to Iran will be immediately tariffed. Any goods sold to the United States of America, 50%. So that's big news. Oman has denied that it accepted Israel's proposal to impose a joint toll with Tehran on ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. That's fucking news. That's what we read the news for, baby. Oman has denied that it has accepted Iran's proposal to impose a joint toll with Tehran. So that was a huge deal because that brings up inflation worldwide. You get a toll, they're charging millions of dollars just for you to come in. Not necessarily any word of like tariffs or sanctions, but just a joint toll. And the way that they were going to execute this is by their neighbor on the other side, who has, the other territory that's connected to the Strait of Hormuz, saying, yeah, we want to do this together. It's not like Panama, where it's like it's all owned by Panama. It's two sides of the same strait. Even though Iran has a far superior military force, their show of diplomacy was going to be that it was a joint venture. So that's big news. Let's keep moving. Scenes from around Lebanon following heavy Israel strikes. So this looks a lot like Palestine. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm glad you can't see it because it's fucking brutal. You can see some work around here. Yeah. Um, at least they were told to evacuate, but doing that to people's homes and stuff that's just. Can you imagine? People see the news. I feel like we get desensitized to this a little bit. Can you imagine for a second that is like your school or like your neighborhood? Like there's a reason to keep up with the news. It's not just for you to be informed. It's not just for you to make executive decisions on it. It's also so you can see, so these people can be seen, so there can be acknowledgement for the people that are actually having to deal with this. The IDF has denied any involvement on the Lavon oil refinery attack. See, we got a statement here from the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane. We welcome the ongoing ceasefire, and as the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said, we hope that Iran chooses a lasting peace, but a ceasefire is a pause, and the joint force remains ready and if ordered and called upon. The Lebanese Red Cross reports more than 300 killed and injured in the wave of Israeli airstrikes. Red alerts in northern Israel. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose. An Israeli Hermes 900 drone was shot down over Lars Far in southern Iran. Following the continued violation of Lebanon, Iran is about to carry out a deterrent operation against Israel. The Saudi Ministry of Defense has announced 9 drones over the last few hours. So, Saudi, Emirates, Yemen, everybody's still dealing with Iranian fires. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that tells Axios that Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire agreement. Okay. If Trump says it's part of the agreement, what the fuck's the press secretary doing saying the opposite? It feels like there's confusion on purpose. Fars News reports the 2 tankers were allowed to pass through. Both of these ships are Greek owned, so shout out to my Greek peoples. Iran has told mediators in its participation on ceasefire talks it will continue threatening neighboring countries if Israel's attacks on Lebanon continue. So it's Iran saying, hey, the reason we're doing this to Saudi, the reason we're doing this to Yemen, the reason we're doing this to all our neighbors is because Israel keeps attacking Lebanon. So keep that in mind. The Lebanese Ministry of Health has a death toll of 87 with over 700 injured. Donald Trump has another statement here today. 12/11, we're still in April 8th. Numerous agreements, lists, and letters are being sent out by people who have nothing to do with the USA. There's only one group of meaningful points that are acceptable. These points are on the basis that we agreed to a ceasefire. So basically, he's getting mad at CNN for misreporting the news. Commander of the IRGC says they're preparing a harsh response to the Zionist regime in Lebanon. Okay, Iran media. Let's get going through this a little bit. Again, I urge you to go get on Telegram. I'll send you the links. Whatever you need to do to get your news. Don't just take it from me. Help me out. All right, look at your own news, and then come here, and then we'll talk about it. All right, U.S. airstrikes taking place in Tehran. The 2-week ceasefire lasted 12 hours. So likely U.S. Air raids. Many outlets are claiming that the U.S. is currently not carrying out strikes, instead that it is a Gulf state. Meanwhile, Iranian media is currently covering the report and saying that it is the U.S. conducting this. Netanyahu has begun his address. 1 p.m. April 8th. We have achieved tremendous accomplishments. Our fighters are on the front line. Finger on the trigger. Americans did not surprise us with their decision on the ceasefire. This is not the end of the campaign. The negotiations are a stage on the way to achieving our goals. Oh man, I can't talk about it, honestly. Do your own research. I can't talk about it. We're being arbitrary. As always, we remain arbitrary. The ceasefire does not include Hezbollah, says Benjamin. Let's just call him Big Yahoo. Okay, the strike in Beirut targeted the nephew and secretary of the Hezbollah Secretary General. That's a mouthful. Massive airstrike against Tehran. Buddy, it's like you can't miss a fucking day. You can't catch a break with the news. So here we saw this yesterday. JD Vance is gonna go negotiate for us. So, I mean, give me a fucking break. Okay, so she says she's unaware of the current explosions in Tehran. Not a good look. I know about the explosions in Tehran. How does she not know about the explosion? I know. I'm nobody. I have the Telegram app. You have Donald Trump on your phone number. You have, I mean, in your contact list, you have everybody that could possibly be getting this news at the very freshest, and you don't know. That's just cope. That's just cope. You want to pull for the home team, and then they do some shit like that. That's cope. All right, so yeah, obviously Israel is furious. We told you about that. They said they're not surprised by the ceasefire. It doesn't mean they're not pissed about the ceasefire. A statement from Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagher regarding the violation. He says that the previously workable basis for negotiation has been violated, and ceasefire and further negotiations are now unreasonable. An old tanker trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz has been told to turn around, and the Strait of Hormuz is now closed. Well, got what you fucking wanted. Again, got what you fucking wanted. We're just gonna be paying for gas. Let's just accept it. Let's just go ahead. Everybody just get your refineries going. Go ahead, bring out the steel. Start building railroads. Just fucking stupid, And the people in Lebanon are getting hurt. I mean, it's like the ceasefire was really just like, put your defenses down. We're about to fucking strike. The White House claimed that Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire as an example of basically it's like Iran's like Lebanon was obviously in the ceasefire. All right, we're 30 minutes into the news. We're gonna get through this. Beirut gets destroyed. NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and if we need them again, uh, remember Greenland, that big poorly run piece of ice. Jeez, I mean, it's so interesting though. It's like Trump doesn't give a fuck about what Iran's saying. The Hormuz will be open, is what he says basically. Iran's ambassador to Pakistan confirms the Iran delegation is set to arrive today. So okay, so Iran's ambassador told Pakistan that they're supposedly supposed to go talk about this. So JD Vance is still going to be there. They want to change. Okay, they want to make sure that they're getting the right deal. It might even be like a back-to-back thing, you know, like, hey, give us a deal on the Panama Canal. You know, maybe we'll give you a little deal on Hormuz. How much did I? Okay, so there's a lot. All right, let's get through today. The United States must choose between a ceasefire or allowing Israel to strike Lebanon. They can't have their cake and eat it, says Iran Deputy FM. No energy tanker has passed so far. Trump has urged NATO allies to present concrete plans to ensure navigation and help secure this Hormuz. So at this point, it's just going to get physical. UK Foreign Secretary issued a statement saying they're strongly wishing for an extension to the ceasefire. Hezbollah rockets. China calls on Israel to respect Lebanon's sovereignty and security. So China calls out Israel directly. That's interesting. How long has it been since they did that? Seems like they've always. It seems like they haven't. You know, who said it? You know, you can't just put China calls on Israel. Was it she? Was it she, or was it like, you know, some lower level guy? Contrary to many misreadings on IDF statement, Israel claims to have killed General Naim Qassem, but not Naim Qassem himself. Hezbollah rocket to northern Israel. Moving forward, Spain's foreign minister accused Israel of violating the ceasefire. They wanted to reopen their embassy in Tehran. So, like, man, I want to go back to my embassy. Lots of sirens in northern Israel. Police have arrested a citizen. Let's just move forward. I mean, this is just getting ridiculous. Yeah, in a weird, we're living in a world now where Iranian delegates are pulling up to Islamabad in Pakistan, and meanwhile they're saying, "Hey, we are landing on Twitter." You got motherfuckers tweeting about, yo, let's take an Instagram story selfie. Yo, at Islamabad, you know, with the ambassador of Israel, not Israel, I guess the United States, with JD Vance negotiating the ceasefire. Like, what the fuck? Talking about, didn't mean to tweet. Why are you tweeting like that, anyways? I guess everybody saw Trump tweet, and now every country is like, we gotta have a Twitter guy. We need to have someone in our government that's gonna be the Twitter guy. That's what it is. This guy's just like pulling up to Islamabad. Can't wait to negotiate. Can't wait to secure the strait. All right, let's keep moving forward. I feel like it's getting stretched out. Iranian parliament has outlined 3 points, stating that Lebanon and Iran's other allies are inseparable. The IDF is encircling the town of Bint Jbeil in Lebanon. Iran to allow a maximum of 15 vessels throughout the day. The Defense Army is moving forward, so you get more announcements from Israel that they're going to continue moving north into Lebanon. NATO said, so yeah, Trump is really mad at NATO. Nobody's supporting him. Israel's preparing for renowned renewed military operations. Germany has entered talks with Iran. Man, my prediction has always been that World War III is gonna have to involve Germany because they've just been in all of them. You know, it seems like it's a no brainer. Um, hopefully this isn't the start of it. Hopefully it's not, because it if shit gets real, you know, NATO is just gonna go back to the U.S. You know, whenever it's not just about oil, whenever it becomes like, you know, people in Europe taking sides and then them starting to bomb each other, that's when NATO's going to come running right back to the US. Um, because Middle East can't supply them with enough shit. And unless China or Russia gets involved, it's not going to get, they're not going to have enough military power, even with Germany. Um, yeah, well, I mean, they're not going to have enough military power to fight off Iran and Germany. I don't know. Crazy, crazy fucking time. Honestly, I'm done with the news for the day. Um, it just seems like everyone's just pissed off at Trump at this point. Not Trump. Everyone's just pissed off at Netanyahu. Honestly, time is running out, says the Iranian parliament leader. Lebanon and its entire resistant access are an inseparable part of the ceasefire. The Lebanon issue. Ceasefire violations carry explicit costs and strong responses. Extinguish the fire immediately. Saudi Arabia reports recent attacks. President Trump attacks Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and Candace Owens over their opposition. Let's go ahead and screenshot that if you need that. um yeah, so not talking about America first. That's interesting. Is that Taylor Swift? Why are they shows former President W. Bush with a higher favorability than all right. Is this news? Is Are we pretending Lebanon isn't getting obliterated right now? Why are we talking about Taylor Swift? Israel views very gravely these blatant anti-Semitic blood libels from a government claiming to mediate peace. Who said that? Okay, so we have Pakistani defense minister talking bad. I mean, honestly, I can't even. I'm not gonna read that out loud. That'll get me in trouble. Um, but yeah, Pakistan is mad at Israel. Big, big surprise. Drones actor over Kurdistan. President Zelensky has accepted Russia's 32-hour Orthodox Easter truce around the entire front line. Ain't that nice? Iran is doing a very poor job, dishonorable, some would say, is what Trump says. Alex Jones on the Trump social post, he said that he's mad that he got set up. And then finishing off the news for the day, the Artemis 2 astronauts have hit the halfway mark between the moon and the Earth and will splash down in the Pacific Ocean. Woo! All right. I don't even know if I want to do biochemistry today. I'm tired, chat. I'm tired. Let me see what this mod. We're gonna do one module. We're gonna do one module. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. I do need 5 minutes though, chat. All right, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do a solid 15, maybe, yeah, 15, 20 minutes of biochemistry. Is gonna be a short biochemistry day. We'll maybe get a video out for the biochemistry. I don't know. I feel like I need to go back over it. Maybe we start over. Maybe I do a brief recap on all this stuff and what we're gonna cover today, module 2.3, and then Yeah, I mean, we got quite a bit of module 2 left to go. Oh, you can't see any of that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, chat. Um, okay. All right, quick 3 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do module 2.3 biochemistry. It's what we're doing. That's how we're living. Why is this shit like? If you're on TikTok, this shit looks kind of weird, low key, though. All right, we put you here. Yeah, if you're on TikTok, you want to get the full experience, make sure to go on YouTube. We're live streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. All right, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Come right back, all right? Better see you when I'm back. Not anything. All right. Damn, should I put music? I feel like music would have hit right there. Let me put a little bit of music. Ah. Chat, I'm cooked today. All right. Boom. We got biochemistry cooking. Boom, it's a beautiful feeling. Hopefully TikTok looks alright. Alrighty. Look, we're gonna do a little something here. Gonna make a video of this. Gonna restart chronology next week. Make sure I'm getting clips of it. Make sure there's a way that y'all can look back and see 5-minute videos going through everything we've been covering live, so that when people, do get caught up, do get into the show, they can just see the study and get the juice, get the manja out of what we've been covering. So in honor of that, I will be just quickly going over what we've learned so far in biochemistry leading up to module 2.3, which we will be covering today. It doesn't take long to cover a module. This will be a short video. All right, so in chapter 1, it was about understanding our species. So there have been hundreds of books written about health and nutrition, obviously. But what Dr. Morse says is that health is a lot less complex than people are saying. The foods that are biologically suited to your species will just simply make your body heal, get everything figured out. So if you're stuck in the plains of Africa, you're looking around, which one of the animals do we look like? Obviously, it's monkeys, it's primates. And that helps us basically break things up into these different types of animals, different types of builds for your digestive system. And it usually has quite a bit of uniqueness to it when it comes to other things like extremities and skeletal systems and stuff like that. So just real quick so we can get over it. Carnivores like cheetahs, cats, lions, they have a rough tongue. They have a sacculated, non-sacculated colon, so minimal ability for absorption. When it's sacculated, it's like passes through slower. They have claws. They have, 100% covered with hair. They don't have sweat glands, and they have incisors. They have these big incisors, and they can only really chew unidirectional. Um, and I don't know if you can see it right here, but they do have an acidic piss. So if you were to take a little pH, little things you put in your pool, it would be acidic, super acidic for a carnivore. Omnivores, mostly birds and dogs. They are opportunistic. The reason they don't live very long is basically they're not optimized for anything. Their colon is shorter than the human colon, but it is significantly large, so it shows that they could do some alkaline digestion. But they also are able to basically eat meat pretty well. They have acidic pee, which kind of is like a meat eater kind of thing, because that's the only way to break down meat into like amino acids and proteins and stuff. Herbivores, those are hoofed animals. We got big hoof energy when it comes to herbivores. They got big ringed stomachs, and they got 30 times the length of their spine. It's their GI tract, so it's got a huge intestine. They got multiple stomachs. They got huge intestines because like leaves, these super like starchy, super like you got to really chew the fuck out of some leaves to even make it absorbable. Like all that shit is like has to be like broken down like quite a bit, and it takes time to take out what you need from the leaves, from the cud or whatever the fuck you're feeding your herbivores. But it's not like carnivores where they're just like throwing meat in there. Their intestines are short. They're not sacculated. They don't have multiple stomachs. They just straight up toss it in their stomach, where you have stomach acid. That's why you don't have like stomach fucking pH or anything. It's just stomach acid, and it gets disintegrated. So and it doesn't spend very much time in the intestines at all. All right, last but not least, I don't want to linger on this too much. Frugivores. These are motherfuckers with fruit vision. That's why you can see color. That's why dogs don't see color. They're not searching for fruit. Cats are not out there looking for making sure they're picking the right fruit. They can't even, name an animal that can do this, Name an animal that could do this. We got smooth tongues, like a shovel. And salivary digestion starts in the mouth, same as herbivores. We got small intestines that are sacculated. We got oblong stomach. We got basically made for extensive absorption. We're meant for alkaline digestion. That's why we have alkaline piss, just like herbivore. And then you can look at some other stuff like, in your group, herbivores, they have 24 molars. In your carnivore group, they have incisors in their mouth. In the frugivore world, we have 32 teeth, and they are unique to the type of animal that has this. The way your jaws move, the exact numbers, like it's just like monkeys. Our teeth are just like monkeys. Nothing even close in another animal. So yeah, let's keep on moving. God intended food for life, not death. At the end of the day, it's about eating fruit. It's about healing your body through eating fruit, and then getting into the biochemistry of it. So let's just briefly go over module 1 and 2 before we go over the entirety of module 2.3. So digestion has certain enzymes that are necessary, acidic enzymes for protein digestion. And then we have other digestion that happens in the bowel that is alkaline. That's what I explained to you a little bit earlier. Proteins are broken down into amino acids, and carbohydrates like starches and complex sugars are broken down into simple sugars. So it's important to remember that we have this ability, but you need to have a strong stomach, a strong intestine in order to even get anything out of digestion. Or some people stay small their whole life. You're like, why is this person so small? Some of it could be hereditary, but also that hereditary thing could be from like your ancestors having a shitty diet. All of that gets put into your children. My healing journey through eating fruit will benefit my children and will break my generational curse of eating fucking meat and potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Absorption is super important. It's not simple. I mean, it is simple, but people complicate it. Basically, if you eat bullshit, you're going to get a thick rubber substance in your intestines and you're not going to be able to absorb shit. A lot of people do that. If you ever do something like an enema, where like you put water in your intestines and then you try to flush it out, you'll see black stuff, that black plaque. That's like fucking when you boil down pasta and it doesn't, it doesn't fucking disappear. It just turns into this, almost like rubbery substance. That shit covers your intestines whenever your diet's bad from a lack of digestion. Utilization, that's basically your blood, your vascular system. Yeah, I mean, you need to have good hormones. You need to have healthy thyroids. You need to make sure you're eating good. Again, fruit has a lot to do with this. Elimination. Basically, you need to be able to poop 3 times a day. You need to be able to have dense piss, not just clear pee, because that's infection. Those are dead cells leaving the body. So you need to make sure you're eliminating, make sure you're sweating. That's why saunas are so good. It's not that you're having like heat tolerance. It's that you're, getting out toxins. Module 2.2 is about the digestive system, the circulatory system, all the different structures and functions of your body. We have eliminative systems, which is basically like the main deal here. Is like I like to focus on the lymphatic system because that's how you heal. You don't put a bunch of shit in your body. You try to get shit out so that your body can heal itself naturally. When you get a cut, you don't just start putting a bunch of bullshit on it. Your body knows to do. You just try to help it out a little bit. So yeah, you can look into this yourself. There are various different systems. We'll be talking about them as they correlate to each other into our next material. But all right, let's just get right into module 2.3. Good to acknowledge all these. We got glandular systems, we got muscular systems, we got respiratory systems, skeletal systems. All of these systems need to regenerate and keep going. And so you need to give your digestive system a break. It's basically what you would get out of this. You need to make sure you're eating food that's easy to digest, like fruit, that you're getting a full spectrum of minerals, vitamins, and amino acids from fruit. And yeah, that you're able to like clean yourself out by having healthy food. Fruit is hydrating. It helps you do all kinds of things. It's magical, and we're gonna get into it. So, all right, module 2.3, the cell. In modules 2.1 and 2.2, we already laid out the basics, presenting the overall systems of the body. 2.5 and 2.13 will detail each of these systems: circulatory, immune, glandular, etc., the organs and glands that comprise them, and their related functions. So before we discuss the systems, the organs, and the glands, let's start at the beginning, the cell. As all of creation is made up of atoms, your body, bones, tissues, organs, glands are all made up out of cells. The body has over 75 trillion cells, each as individual as you are. They each perform in a specific function while all working together in harmony to form a social consciousness. In other words, all your cells depend upon each other to work together for the life and functioning of the body. As a microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm, a body is a reflection of each of its cells, each being a society unto itself. Each cell is actually like a little city, taking care of all its functions with two exceptions. All cells need an external source of energy, and they all need to eliminate their waste. They need to go poo-poo. So let's examine the city part of the cell. You know, cities can be very gross, or they can be like Japan, where everybody cleans up their litter. There are many different kinds of systems and structures within a city, like the highway department. This performs specific functions aimed at survival and productivity. The same is true within the cell. The courthouse, aka the nucleus, where all records, genetic information are kept. You have government employees like the nuclei, nucleoli. Who care? If you heard these terms in chemistry class, I'm sure, but like as an adult, you know, you understand them different. These carry out the daily activities and are required for the men in the field. All of the above determine the individuality of the cells and their functions. The atmosphere and living substance of a cell is called the cytoplasm. The city is protected by a wall. So if you imagine like a cell, the cell would be basically if Trump did what he said he was going to do in 2016. They just have a huge wall on the outside, and very, very picky about what gets to go in and out. Your cells don't fly in, you know, millions. All right, let's not get into that. Well, we're done with news for today. We're done with politics for the day. Cytoplasm and the cell wall basically makes up a lot of the atmosphere and living substance. The courthouse, aka the nucleus, is protected by a functional wall called the nuclear envelope. Again, you've probably heard all about this in your chemistry class. There are workers that carry substances from the nucleus to the city. So the workers are basically the endoplasmic reticulum, which is the transport of the cell. This is stuff we know. The Golgi apparatus is named after Camillo Golgi, who discovered things that like to put their names on them. Golgi was an Italian histologist who uncovered the function of the curved sacs of the membrane-bound sacs within cells, which act as factories that collect, modify, package, and distribute proteins and lipids that are manufactured by the ER. These proteins are present in large amounts in the pancreas, salivary glands, liver, and other organs. In our cities, we have transporters and storage facilities. These are called vesicles within the cells. Secretory vesicles break off from the Golgi apparatus with the materials manufactured by the ER, carry these to the outer cell, where this material is then dumped or carried out of the world of the body. Some vesicles act as holding tanks until the created or manufactured product is needed. An example of this is the hormone insulin. It is something that's very popular terminology in the health world. This is held in vesicles of the beta cells of the pancreas, and when the body's blood glucose levels rise, these vesicles then release their stored insulin into the blood and assist cellular utilization of glucose. So insulin is not necessarily bad. It's only bad if you're putting bad shit in and it's being absorbed and utilized, you know, with processed sugars versus living sugars and fruit. Then you don't want to utilize that shit. You don't want that to be into your blood immediately. You just get a fucking headache. As in any city, we need protection from invaders. Many cells act as protectors of the body. They're called immune cells. Within each cell, the lysosomes are vesicles that contain a variety of enzymes that are used for sanitation and elimination. Macrophages, aka white blood cells, ingest bacteria. Lysosomes in your cell eat and destroy the invader. So what is a city without power? This is what everybody remembers. So for some reason, this gets engraved in everybody's brain. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And these bean or rod-shaped organelles produce, store, and release ATP. That's the energy source for most chemical reactions within the cell. They use oxygen, which allows ATP to be produced. That is their own little metabolism. The skeletal portions of the cell are called cytoskeleton. I know, not very creative. This is made up of proteins, and while within the cytoskeleton, there's various structures that all play a role in the flexibility, shape, and size. So these are called microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. It's no worry to mention that some cells have cilia, which is hair-like extensions. So, some of them get perms, some of them get weaves. This coordinated job is to move mucus. You can especially see this in the respiratory tract where mucus is secreted by the lymphatic mucosa of the lining of the lungs and bronchi. The action of the cilia allows the body to keep its lungs clear of dust and other particles that could damage or affect its functions. So it just helps move things along. Some cells have what's called microvilli, which are projections of the outer cell membrane wall. This is especially true of kidneys and intestinal wall cells where additional absorption of nutrients is necessary. Now you can see how a cell acts and is created like a city. All the world, all the creations of God are just a mirror reflection of each other, from the microcosms to the microcosms. To understand the nature of your cells, it's important to understand the different ways that nutrients or elements can enter through the cell membrane wall. Basically, there's two conditions: diffusion or osmosis, that allow this to happen. Take a little sip of water. All right, let's go into diffusion and osmosis here. Molecules or substances move from a higher or greater concentration of particles into a lesser concentration in a solution. This is basically how a sugar cube gets put into water. Osmosis, as opposed to diffusion, is where molecules or substances move from a less concentrated solution to a higher, more concentrated solution. Osmosis and the rate of osmosis depend on several factors that facilitate this action. First and primarily, the osmotic pressures on each side of the cell membrane wall, and second, the permeability of the membrane, and thirdly, the electrical potential across the membrane wall and its pores. So this is a very complicated function, osmosis. Whenever you're doing reverse osmosis to clean your water, think about all this. A great percentage of osmosis and facilitated diffusion requires an active transporter. That simply means a carrier, like a bus, that is used to assist the movement of a molecule or substance through a cell membrane wall. One example is insulin. So, again, here's a callback to insulin. This is the carrier or the transporter of glucose into a cell. This type of activity requires a small amount of energy. Since it's an active transport, not a passive one, the energy comes from the cell mitochondria in what? ADP, which comes from ATP. It's very important. Your whole body runs on ATP. You need to know about ATP. The carrier or transporter can be a hormone, protein, steroid, or mineral. When you are seeking true healing, health, vitality, therefore you must think cellularly. Healing must happen at the cellular level for true lasting health and vitality to exist. Spiritually speaking, all life, no matter how small or how large, when manifested physically, must have a mental body and an emotional body. And that is true for each of your cells, plants, animals, and your entire body. A great example is documented by Christopher Bird and Tom Hopkins in their book, The Secret Life of Plants, which tells about the ability of plants to feel and remember. And these abilities become more obvious in animals. The world's more complicated than you think it is. Plants, animals, they have a lot more to offer than you think it is. And it's not as simple as what you think it is. You study archaics, you study chronology with me, you know that they have a completely different form that they will transform to, and a higher spiritual plane that will be reached in 2040. But anyways, sticking on the term of biochemistry, let's finish this up right here. Cells respond to external stimuli, not only from hormones, minerals, sugars, proteins, but their ability to function is greatly affected by pH, acidosis, congestion, the foods you consume, and the chemical consumption. They respond to thoughts and emotions as well. Types of thoughts and feelings you have, harbor, carry, that play a major role in cellular functioning. To enjoy a state of total health and vitality, is important to detoxify your body, your mind, and your emotions. So again, not eating fruit, just fruit, will help your mind and having a clean mind will also help your overall health. So it's a 2-in-1. Meditation and fruit, it's like bread and butter. So you got to meditate. That's why we do That's why we do Wednesdays. That's why we covered Bill Donahue. That's why we covered theology and religion in general. There's no reason I want to cover religion. I don't want to cover theology. I don't want to get in arguments with people about books they haven't read. What I really want to do is just find a way to. It's like, hey, you believe this, thing, even though you haven't studied it. Let me show you what it really says, and that's what it is. You know, the Old Testament, New Testament is telling you how to meditate. You know, obviously, the words of Jesus Christ are like goated, like top of the line advice and parables. But when you get down to the bottom of it, he says, look within yourself. He says your body is a temple. He says, you know, I cannot do anything here. So when you really look into it, you got to meditate. You know, take it from him, take it from the man himself. You got to meditate, and it's good for you. You got to get to know yourself, and you got to deal with your shit, and you got to have self-control, and you got to watch your thoughts, observe your thoughts, and that'll go right into the fruit. So, you know, milk is a conduit for lust. I'm gonna say it. Milk is a conduit for lust. You want to feel lusty? Tomorrow is not directly after the milk, maybe like the next day, when your body's like really struggling to like digest it, and you're seeing that when your body's in a fucked up state, in an upset state, it gets all these bad thoughts, it gets all these weird moods, it gets all these negative things that you don't really want. Kind of like the 7 deadly sins, temptations of food, sex, you know, overthinking, all these other things that are not favorable can be taken away a lot by fruit. If you clean your body, you'll clean your mind. If you clean your mind, maybe you'll be able to see my point when I tell you that the amount of fruit you eat will directly correlate to how good you eat. I ate a bunch of berries today. I felt great. I had chicken and rice afterwards. Now I have to drink coffee to do the show. So it's just always better when you eat just fruit. Do at least just a day of fruit. Do just a day of fruit. I promise you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Types of cell division are meiosis and mitosis. So half of the chromosomes and exact same number of chromosomes. So basically exact replication, and then like somewhat replication. So anyways, that is the end of module 2.3. I hope y'all learned something. I hope I was able to convey the message appropriately. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching the videos. I've been getting a lot of love on TikTok lately. People seem to like this short form. Maybe they're not making their way to the stream. Maybe only a few people are organically watching my videos of the streams getting cut down. But we're seeing growth, and especially on TikTok, we're seeing some organic growth. So people are liking it. People are saving the videos to their favorites. A lot of people don't follow, but a lot of people leave likes, and a lot of these things are getting hundreds and thousands of views that I'm posting, and people are saving it to their favorites. A bunch of people save that shit to their favorites when I say something about Turkey or these other things that aren't being reported on in the news. They make absolute sense once you look into them. But they're just not following or liking. I guess that's why people always say like, hey, subscribe and shit, because a lot of people just are idle watchers. But either way, I'm just here to help you learn on your own. And I appreciate you watching. I appreciate y'all for giving me your time. We will be back. I might try to do a little stream tomorrow. We'll see what happens. It didn't drop too many frames today. I think it looked good. But yeah, I'm going to New York next week. So maybe we might get a stream out on Monday or Tuesday. Might get a stream out tomorrow, but yeah, the war's not over. Strait of Hormuz is closed. We're only meant to eat fruit, and Phoenix is coming in 2040. Also, E15 is coming on May 1st. Fucking A. Alright. Maybe I'll be fucking vindicated next fucking year or something. But anyways, I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you learned something. I'm going to fucking bed. I'm gonna go watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I just started it. Alright. Do your own research. Meditate, eat fruit. Tell someone you love them today. We get to do this. We get to do this.